There was once a young man who carried more than his share of burdens. While most people his age were free to chase dreams without much thought, he had to think of more than himself. His family depended on him. Their meals, their well-being, their survival, so much of it rested on his shoulders. It was not a weight he asked for, and it was not an easy one to bear. Yet despite the heaviness, he never lost hope. He carried the weight of his family, but he carried it with love. Every morning he woke up before the sun, long before the world stirred to life. His hands grew calloused from hard work, his body weary from endless days, but he kept moving. People often underestimated the depth of his sacrifice. They saw a young man working, but they did not see the silent battles in his heart. They did not see how he fought exhaustion, loneliness, and doubt every day. And yet, he endured. Because when you carry your family in your heart, you find hidden strength. There were days when the weight felt unbearable, days when he wanted to collapse, to cry out, to give in to despair. The bills kept coming. The responsibilities never stopped. His own dreams often felt like they were fading into the distance. And still, he pressed on. Because he knew that if he gave up, those who depended on him would suffer. His pain became secondary to their well-being. His sacrifices became invisible acts of love that held his family together through storms. What made his journey even harder was the silence. The world did not applaud him. There were no crowds cheering his name. There were no medals for the late nights, the skipped meals, the sacrifices no one saw. He often felt invisible, like a shadow moving quietly through life. And yet he reminded himself that his reward was not recognition. His reward was the smile of his parents when the bills were paid, the hope in his siblings' eyes when school continued, the relief in their home. But there were also moments of deep doubt. He sometimes asked himself, "What about me? What about my dreams? Will I ever get the chance to live for myself?" These questions haunted him in the quiet of the night. But every time, the answer came back. One day. For now, keep going. He learned to trust the process, to believe that his sacrifices today were not wasted, but were planting seeds for tomorrow. Seeds that would blossom into a better future for everyone. And slowly, those seeds began to grow. His family, once burdened with fear and uncertainty, began to breathe a little easier. His siblings achieved things he never could because his sacrifices gave them opportunities. His parents, once worn down by struggle, found moments of rest. His household, once filled with worry, began to echo with laughter again. And though the world never saw, he knew. He knew that every drop of sweat, every tear he shed, every sleepless night had purpose. Carrying the weight of family is not a weakness. It is a quiet kind of greatness. It teaches patience, humility, and resilience. It shows you how strong you truly are, not because you choose to be, but because you must. And that strength, once forged, never leaves you. This young man discovered that while his burdens were heavy, they were also shaping him into someone unbreakable. He was becoming not just a provider, but a protector, a foundation, a light in the darkness. His path was not free of mistakes. Sometimes he failed, sometimes he fell short, sometimes the money was not enough. But even in failure, he kept going. For he knew that love was not about perfection, but persistence. His sacrifices were never measured by success alone, but by the heart that gave them. And with each setback, he grew wiser, stronger, and more determined. He learned to see his struggle not as a curse, but as the very fire shaping his destiny. For those who listen to this story and feel the same weight on your shoulders, know this: you are not alone. Your struggle is real, your pain is valid, and your sacrifices matter, even if no one sees them. You may not hear applause, but you are building a legacy. You may not see results today, but every effort is planting a seed. And one day you will look back and realize that you turned hardship into hope, struggle into strength, and burden into blessing. The young man who carried his family without losing hope teaches us something powerful. True greatness is not in what you achieve for yourself, but in what you give for others. His story is not about fame or fortune. It is about love, sacrifice, and the quiet courage to keep going when everything in you wants to stop. And that, more than anything else, is what makes him extraordinary. It is what transforms an ordinary life into something truly meaningful. So carry your weight with pride, carry it with love, and never forget that even if the world doesn't notice, your sacrifices are shaping a future brighter than you can imagine. The road is heavy, the nights are long, but hope will carry you through. And one day, your family will rise because of the foundation you laid. And when that day comes, you will realize that the burden you carried was never just a weight. It was your gift, your legacy, your greatness. Perhaps you wonder if your sacrifices mean losing yourself. But the truth is, every act of love you give does not erase you. It defines you. The young man discovered that though his dreams were delayed, they were not destroyed. In lifting his family, he also lifted himself. His resilience became his strength, his patience became his wisdom, and his sacrifices became the stepping stones that led him toward his own destiny. Sacrifice, he learned, is never wasted. Years later, when he looked back, he realized that he had become more than just a dreamer. He had become a builder of hope, of opportunities, of love strong enough to carry generations. His story was not written in applause, but in the quiet victories of survival and progress. And in that realization, he found peace. For he understood that greatness is not always loud, but often silent, hidden in the choices no one sees but everyone benefits from. So if you carry the weight of your family, hold it close. Do not see it as a burden, but as a sacred trust. Know that every small sacrifice is a brick in the foundation of a brighter tomorrow. And though the nights may be long and the journey lonely, never lose sight of the truth. Love gives strength, sacrifice gives meaning, and perseverance gives victory. One day, you will see that the weight you carried was not crushing you. It was building you.